How we doing, everybody? This is Brent Swansen from Midwest Muscle Report. I'm here with Dorian Haywood, second place super heavies at the USA's. Dorian, how we doing?
Doing excellent.
Awesome. Now let's start out. You lost to the overall winner in Rashid. How does it feel being so close to your mark, but yet not accomplishing it? Do you feel down? Do you feel pretty up right now? Kind of where are your emotions?
Obviously I wanted to come in and win like anybody does, but going into that show, I know Rashid was out there, and it's a matter if he showed up in shape or not. And he did, and he showed up in good shape. So the way I see it, I went up against the biggest, baddest dude I've ever went up against in the NPC. And I gave him a real good run for his money. He barely escaped out of there. Yeah. He didn't win with a perfect score. He got me 6'9". So yeah. I know it was close, and that was pretty encouraging for me to be able to hold my own against some guy who's got 40 pounds on me.
Right, and that I think it's very encouraging, and like we were talking earlier, it's apples and oranges. It's two different looks, and it's depending on what the judges want. A lot of people were saying too how Rashid, if he comes in just a little bit more conditioned, can do an IFBB Pro show and place in the top 5 at most shows that he would enter. I mean, being 5'9", would he weigh 272 or 274? I mean,
say he weighed in 273.
Yeah, that's a big bad boy right there. So
I mean, if you think about it, Phil's usually on stage at 250.
Yeah.
And Rashid, if he tightened up 10, 15 pounds, we're still putting him on stage at 260, and he's going to be hard to beat by anybody at that weight.
No, I agree. I totally agree. And like I said, you're a great guy, and it was great meeting you backstage. Followed you a lot on social media, but I think that's a great way to look at it. There's nothing to be down about. I mean, you got nationals, you got North Americans, and coming off that second place victory, I mean, you're the guy to beat. I mean, you're the one that everybody's looking at saying, this is the guy who's going to come in and win. So I think in doing this show, you have all the momentum in the world to knock it out at North Americans, and then not if there, which I think you probably will win that class. You have that many more weeks to nationals where they give out 2 pro cards.
I'm not going to nationals.
Well, I don't think you're going to have to. Personally, I don't think you're going to have to. I think you're going to.
I hope not.
Americans.
I'm coming in guns a-blazing for this show.
Yeah.
I didn't really let myself slip too much after USA's. I mean, Vegas is a great foodie town. Had a couple cheat meals, but everything was clean. I had a couple burgers, had a couple all-you-can-eat sushis, but I didn't junk out with pizza or ice cream or cookies or anything like that. Right. Truthfully, right now I'm more conditioned than I was at USA's. Really? It's just better being back on my diet for 4 more days.
Yeah. Now, do you think, like, when you started adding that food back in, those 2 cheat meals, did you spill over at all, or were you just kind of adding those carbs in and just getting tighter and tighter and tighter?
I might have spilled over a touch, just barely. Right. But, Dave Calick put me right back on a low-carb plan that Tuesday when I got home, and those 2 days were really rough for me. I didn't do any cardio, but still, man, I was starving, and I'm back to body composition that's better than what I put on stage at the USA's.
Awesome. That's great. And, probably that spike in carbs and dropping it back down just shot your body for a loop, and you're tighter now than ever. Now let's talk about Dave a little bit. You said that you've worked with Dave for a year, and I think Dave's an awesome coach. I've known him for a while, and kind of talk about his mindset and how hands-on he is with you, especially in person. Those last few days leading up to USA's with the posing and everything.
Oh yeah, it's really what I hired him for. He's great through the off season. We didn't have nearly as much contact as we had over the past 2-3 months getting ready for USA's. I met him at North Americans last year, and it's just one of those things. Right off the bat, we had this personality click, and it was right away. I said, I want to work with you. And the last 3 months, he's been basically on phone with me every day, doing updates with me, doing food updates. But the most intense thing, he called it boot camp. So as soon as I got into Vegas, I bet he posed me 3 to 4 times a day, 3 rounds per posing session. And it was just eat and pose, trying to figure out, what type of food combinations are making me full. Just trying to get the best package that we could possibly produce for the USA's and top that class out,
Yeah. Now, how important do you think, because I think it's very important as well, when you are carb loading and to pose right after you get done eating, to push that glycogen into the muscle? Like, how much did you feel like you changed from when you first saw him and then all the way up into prejudging?
That's hard to say, but I can say this. It seems like years past, when I haven't had a prep coach, I get lazy and I don't hold myself perfectly accountable. So I find myself slipping on my diet just on the last couple days. My problem last year at North Americans, I overate and the food didn't digest and it was sitting around in my gut. And Dave really did a good job holding me accountable, just making sure I'm eating exactly what I should be eating and just making sure that whatever we're doing with posing's, going to muscle and trying to be stored as glycogen opposed to be potentially spilling over.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's very important to make sure that we're pumping whatever that carbohydrate is to the right places.
Yeah.
When you get that muscle pump, you're getting that blood flowing to the muscle. Blood flowing to the muscle, glycogen would be going that way.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously you guys, like you said, you clicked, and this is the best, year you've had so far, and, getting ready for North Americans. I mean, it's going to be an awesome run for you. And if you think about it, you got pretty much 4.5 weeks till you step on stage. So even if
it's 3 weeks and 6 days.
Okay, 3 weeks and 6 days. I'm off then. You can tell I'm not doing it, so I'm a little bit off of my calculations.
Oh, I'm on it. I got you, bro.
But if you think about it too, I mean, you were very conditioned, very hard at USA's. All you're going to do is get tighter and better. So these super heavies better be ready to even face a better Dorian with another 3.5 weeks of dieting and even tightening up from there. So, I mean, like I said, I think the show was great for you. I think second is nothing to, be ashamed of whatsoever. And I think it's just refreshing that you had the attitude of, you know what, I got second to the biggest, baddest dude there is, and I'm going to make sure at North Americans that I get the job done.
You got it, man. You're exactly right, too. I think I can be a little bit tighter. And I think I just showed up at USA showing my tightest package ever. And
yeah, you were tight. You were very tight.
I told you already, I'm already leaner than I was at USA's, and I'm not even doing cardio. So
yeah, that's crazy.
It's hard to fathom. I just put my best package on stage ever. It's hard to conceive what I can do here in 3.5 more weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I know all bodybuilding fans are definitely going to be watching closely, just because it seems like the more you diet, especially dieting the right way, and Dave obviously knows his stuff. That your metabolism is just going through the roof right now, and it should be very interesting to see. Now let's kind of switch tracks a little bit. For those who don't know, you have a full-time job as a chiropractor.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'd like to say I'm a full-time bodybuilder, part-time personal trainer, part-time chiropractor.
Well, a lot of times I have a lot of respect for that. My wife's a full-time physical therapist along, with her job, and I have a full-time job. But, you see a lot of competitors who they just compete, or they just have a little job here or there. But it's cool to talk to actual professionals, and other, that do something else along with bodybuilding, just because it takes that much more time, discipline, and dedication to make sure all your stuff is in order to be the best bodybuilder that you can be. Uh-huh. Now in saying all of that, as far as being a chiropractor, what are a few things that you kind of think in your head, man, bodybuilders need to be doing more of this? If a physique competitor just did more of this, totally be a game changer for them.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think I've got a pretty unique practice and a pretty unique mindset on how chiropractic should be applied. I'm all about prevention. A lot of the times, I'm watching people on the floor training, and I can tell them how they're going to hurt themselves before they ever do it. So generally when I'm training people, I'm making sure that their motor programming is just perfect. So every time that they're going through whatever their workout is, they're totally minimizing the potential for injury.
Right.
If you're injured, you're not going to be getting the gains you need. Also with chiropractic, obviously we need to be structurally sound, so making sure that everything's in proper alignment, so we have proper neural function, biomechanical function's a must. But, that being said, when you got the optimal neural function, you're going to see optimal proprioception. You're going to get better mind-muscle connection associated with your lifts. And that's how we're going to optimize, your function as a bodybuilder.
Right. And kind of seeing you even pump up backstage and things like that, even for you being a super heavy, you see some super heavies walk around, they seem so just tight and just bound up. But I mean, you seem pretty loose, seem pretty mobile and everything like that. So what are some of the things that you do to make you so mobile?
I think it has a lot to do with my athletic background in the past. And I would also associate that with the way that I train and the range of motion that I try to get through. I've got a big background with I was predominantly a wrestler. Mm-hmm. And I was also a pretty small guy, pretty much through all of high school until I got into college. And I just never really lost my flexibility. And I think I'm just kind of lucky, I didn't put on any muscle fast. I've been bodybuilding in the NPC for 16 years.
Right.
So it's not like I've always been a huge guy and I've been immobile or inflexible. It's just a slow progress. I keep putting on a little bit of muscle every year, and finally getting to this point, and I've just never lost flexibility. So
yeah, now kind of going back, since you're a veteran, you've been competing for 16 years. Your very first show, how old were you and what did you weigh? And then how much did you weigh at the USA's?
Okay. First show I did is in Lexington, Kentucky. I did Tricky Jackson's Bluegrass Muscle Classic.
I've been there.
18 years old at 136 pounds.
Wow.
Then fast forward 16 years later, USA stage, on stage, 236 pounds.
Wow.
100-pound gain.
That's great. And the thing is,
16 years.
Yeah, only 16 years. But if you think about it, I mean, I don't know. It's just cool to see people who grind it out, who do it for the long time, who do it the right way, and you put on a little bit of muscle at a time, stay healthy, make sure that everything is how it should be. And that just goes to show you, if you just keep at it, adding a little bit of weight every year, in 16 years you gained 100 pounds and most of that was muscle. You know what I mean? So that's just very encouraging, and that's just a very, I think, good example of the right way to do it.
That's kind of a motto. I do it right.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to do it right. Don't take any shortcuts.
Right. Got it.
Well, hey, Dorian, thanks so much for joining us. We know that you're hard into prep right now. I don't want to take too much of your time, and we definitely look forward to a win coming up here at North Americans, and we'll definitely, hopefully once you have that victory, once you have that victory, we'll do a follow-up interview and just ask you how sweet it is to win. So,
yeah. Sounds great, man. Thanks for the interview.
Awesome. Hey, this is Brent Swansen with Midwest Muscle Report here with Dorian Haywood. Stay tuned, and we will do a follow-up with Dorian shortly.